Okay. Okay, now we have come to YouTube is set up. So you all can hear me now. Hare Krishna. Can tell me? Okay. So today's chapter is summary of Gita Sarangsha. So we are going to see what is going to be the okay, thank you. That's right. Compassion. So we are going to see what the reply by Krishna. So before that, let us pay obeisance to Sri Radha Govinda. Om Jnanatimirandasya Nanakashalakaya Chakshurmitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vittam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakana Vittamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vacha Kalpaturabhyascha Kripa Sindhu Ave Evacha Patitam Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So what was the reasons for which Arjuna gave for not wanting to fight? So I saw in the chat, it was he was not happy to give, to see was compassionate and he didn't want to fight with his brothers. He didn't want his relatives to die. He was worried that all would be laid down. What would be the future of the kingdom? Yes. So he was not happy and he was compassionate and there's no peace. Right. So we have gone through that. And we also saw the reflections, that is reflections on day one. What was the Dhritarashtra's worried, and we looked at the difference between attachment and affection, and also we saw the relation with if one who is dissatisfied, depending on the degree of dissatisfaction, their frustrations, and how it leads to adharma. And we saw the mentality of Duryodhana. He was fear. There was a fear in his mind, and like a politician, he was acting, and he will do anything, even sacrificing his own kith and kin for this. And there were some interesting interactions also we had. And I did see one question. It was the difference between Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So they are not the same. Actually, Bhagavad Gita is what Bhagavan Krishna is speaking to Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, right? That is Bhagavad Gita. And Srimad Bhagavatam is about Krishna, about the devotees and how Krishna reciprocates. And this was recited to Parikshit Maharaj by Shukadev Goswami. Okay, so Srimad Bhagavatam has got about 18,000 slokas, whereas Bhagavad Gita is just 700 slokas. And Srimad Bhagavatam is all about Krishna and how the devotees they do the devotional service, and about his creation and how is of Leela avatars and different. All that Parikshit Maharaj will be asking one after the other. And Shukadev Goswami, he is narrating the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, that has got about 10 to 12 volumes, it's a big volumes, and about 18,000, and it is that. That's the difference. And what we learned, I said, I just thought I put a few points. Every time when we leave this time, we need to introspect ourselves. And what we found that the grief experienced by Arjuna is familiar to us. We also said it is some things which we do face in our life. And there are mentality of Duryodhana, sometimes even with us. And many a times we'll be asking ourselves, why me? Why have been subjected to this? Okay. And also one more thing we have to notice, that is, why did Lord Krishna remain silent? And he did not interrupt Arjuna's lamentation. He was waiting for Arjuna to talk, and he was waiting quiet. So we should also contemplate on that. And in this Bhagavad Gita, the Lord Krishna, there are 5 topics have been covered. He talks about Ishvara, the one who is controlling the entire cosmic universe, manifestations, and who is the controller. And Jiva is our living entities who are being controlled by Ishvara. The Prakriti is this material world. Kala is the time. And Karma are the activities. These are the 5 topics which are covered in this Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So, and what are the 5 reasons? I saw it was good. Everyone have written compassion, no enjoyment, sin, family traditions, and indecision. Right. So what is the chapter in connection? In previous chapter, Sanjaya concluded that Arjuna was not inclined to fight. That made actually Dhritarashtra joyful, and he was hoping that Pandavas will renounce the kingdom and go away. But in this chapter, Sanjaya, seeing Dhritarashtra is hopeful of not losing the kingdom for his sons, began to describe how Krishna is going to inspire Arjuna to fight. Okay. And Arjuna was asked to fight with his own guru and grandfather. So, as anybody in history has made sacrifice like that, we might think like that. Is this the first time such a thing is being happening? So, if you look into the scriptures, it's not like that. There has been thing. If you all know, I can just put it. That is sacrifice for Krishna. It has been happened time and again. Like the first example we can give is between father and the son. The Prahlad, Bhakta Prahlad was what do you mean? Tortured by his own father. When the father was asking him, and what do you think, who is the best? Then he was telling Narayana is the one who is the controller, and he didn't like it. And all the others were all worshipping him, They were all very scared of him and all that. It was his own son. He was fearless. And he was all the time in the memory of Narayan. And same way with Arishas and Bahulasha. They are the sons of Daksha. Actually, Daksha's duty was to progenate, and they had 1,000 sons. And they were, normally in the Vedic thing, they are sent to the forest for austerity. They have to spend some time. When they were there, Narada Muni met them. And they said the best thing is to get liberated. So they all, after listening to Narada Muni, they all became sannyas. They never took Grahastha ashram. So they all waited. So Daksha was angry. Even next year, they'll have another set of sons, Bahulashvas. And again, they go to the forest. And again, Narada Muni will say, you must do whatever your elder brothers have done. So they also go off. So they went against their father. They didn't progeny. They didn't take a breath. Same way with Sanat Kumaras. They are the sons of Brahmaji, and they remained brahmachari throughout their life. They didn't progenate. They wanted to take. Same way with older brother and younger brother. We have seen, Ravana and Vibhishana. How Vibhishana left Ravana's side and went towards the Lord Rama. And that also we saw. And priest the Shukracharya and Bali Maharaj. In fact, Shukracharya will be telling, see, the Lord has come. Don't give away all the riches. There's not, you still have time. You have not said the mantra, but he won't listen. That he have given his word, and he knows the Lord has come, but still he was prepared. So he went against his priest. And there's a thing about the Brahminic Patnis is there in Krishna's Leela's thing, where their husbands will be doing yajna sacrifices, and when Krishna and them sent their thing, they wanted, they were very hungry. So Brahmana said, we have to finish the puja and all that, only then we'll give you. But the Patnis, no, the minute they heard that Krishna and Balaram were hungry, they just took all the food which they had and they brought it to them. So they went against it. So that sacrifice is there in the history. It's not that the devotees were there. Family man like Bharata, King Bharata, then Raghunatha Das Swami, Goswami, and Chaitanya Prabhu, they all took up sannyas, Lakshmana, Bharata, Prabhu, and also our Prabhupada, who went for Krishna, they gave up their lives. So this is there. And the thing is not that it is not, but so Arjuna's thing is not. So what we're going to see in this chapter is the first 10 verses will be about Arjuna will again explain his indecision and what the reasons why he is not weak. And then Krishna going to answer. And it's like a trailer, this chapter where he gives everything in a nutshell, little thing to the point, to each reason. So in this verse, he'll see his analysis of the body and soul. And then we'll describe the duties and how to do your Nishkama Karma Yoga. Then comes the Korea, how Astira Muni, he addresses to all these things. Okay, so the compassion, actually for compassion, he gives him some jnana. Then for no enjoyment, he's talking from the material body. That time he talks from Karma Kanda, sinful direction, Buddhi Yoga, and Karma. In fact, the indecision was given. He said, how I can kill he says that doesn't know which is better, being conquering them or conquered by them. If we kill distractions, then we should not be like them. That the indecision, he says, no. So that is the turning point in Bhagavad Gita, where the whole thing starts. And when Arjuna surrenders to the Lord, he says, I can't understand what to do. I don't know what is best for me. You please tell me. So Arjuna surrendering to the thing. Kärpanya-dosopahata-svabhavah prachami tvam dharma samudha chetana yashya tvam dharma samudha chetaha yashya shyam nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham sadimam tvam prapana. Shreya Shan Kripana means I am now bewildered, I am confused. And he admits I am the weakness because of my weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me clearly. Bruhi Tanme means tell me clearly what is good for me. He doesn't say what is my, because he knows as a Kshatriya has to do. But now he wants to know what is good for me, what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and the soul surrender until. So now he has come to a stage of indecision. He can't take this. And this type of thing, the indecision comes to us also in any time. Anytime, there comes you might be, I think now you all have, you're all now past many time you have taken decisions. And sometimes it has been fruitful, sometimes it might have given you worry, sometimes. So the decision making is very important in our life, isn't it? In fact, minute to minute, we do make decisions every day. Or what to cook, whether I should go by bus to the office, whether my children have come, what should I make for them. So it all depends on the influence of mode we are in. Sometimes, we won't even make any, if we are in the mode of ignorance, we won't have any capacity. We don't want to take decision. We want to be indifferent. He says, I can't think of it. So there are that kind of times you have in situations. In some situations, you may take an impulsive decision, just go on, and then later you might regret that. Or sometimes you will be in a very good, calmly, you see the pros and cons, and that way, then you'll be in the mode of goodness, and then, but that is also limited. You may not be satisfied. So only when you come to the spiritual form, then only you will be completely satisfied with whatever the decision you take. So now he knows completely that he had the intelligence. He know how to fight and all that. And he knew the value systems. But the grief which engulfed him, which went into his heart, that he knew it cannot go away so easily, even if the things come. So he went, now he surrenders to the Lord because he knew only he can think. And that too, now he says, I'm your Shishya. You are my Guru now. See, unless that Guru, otherwise you're all the time as a friends. The friends, among friends, he'll be very casual about it. He may not give you the right way to go about, or he'll be very casual in the talk which you have among your friends. But when it comes to a master and a student, the master has to be very careful. He has to look at the thing, and the discussions will be more serious. It won't be that. So now when he knew that his grief is something too much and it cannot go away so easily, so now he's surrendering and says, you please instruct me. Yeah, I'm your disciple. So that's how when then Krishna asks, so can we similarly surrender to Krishna in our lives? This is what Prabhuji was saying. Do we do that? Do we really surrender ourselves? So that's a question we need to ponder about. Just like how Arjuna did, how he completely surrendered and said, you tell me and I'll just go by your thing. So, and there are many instances in the scriptures where Brahma surrendered, and Brahma couldn't understand how, whether this is the Krishna's Leela was going on Vrindavan. Is this the little boy, the one who is the Supreme Lord? Is the one who is playing with the Gopal, with the coward boys, and is eating with them, playing with them, and is singing and dancing. And is this the Supreme Lord? He couldn't, and once he tries to take away all of them, and there's a past tense. Finally, he surrenders there. Samely, even I think we all know about this story of Gajendra Moksha. Then Prahlad, of course, I keep coming back and back to him. How he was all the time. He just heard about Narayana when he was in the womb of his mother, by Naradaji. And that itself is enough for him to be situated in Lord Narayana. And Hanuman is also how he is completely surrendered to Lord Rama, right? So now we are going to see how Krishna is going to be a good teacher. See, what did we do? What did we see? He was silent throughout the chapter 1. When Arjuna was talking about, he was very silent. And Shukracharya, thank you. Thank you. So it became how to become a good teacher. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, and spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. So he's the best teacher because he was not scolding him. He didn't get perturbed. He didn't get angry. He said, you're coming at this battlefield and now you're telling me you can't fight. He didn't tell. He was not thinking. He was smiling and he spoke. He didn't scold him. If it was us or something, we would have given, if it is our children, you would have given them a good slap and said, no, go to school and the thing, don't put up your tantrums now. So here it was like he didn't scold, he was always smiling. He says, yes, O descendant Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of things, spoke the following words. Ashosyan anavosham tavam prajnavadamscha bhashase gatasuna agatsumcha nanu shoshanti pandita. Now he is telling, you are talking like a learned, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. So straight away he understands the grief which is coming. So now he straight away goes to the jnana. He's going to the spiritual thing and he's telling, you're talking like a pandita. And all speaking so many learned wise, you quoted scriptures, you are saying the traditions are lost and the elders and all that you're talking big words as though you're learned, but you're mourning for what that is not worthy of grief. So those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. So why he's telling that? Because this is another thing. Listens the whole chapter silently. He gives knowledge of Gita only when Arjuna is ready and smiles. and no anger at Arjuna. Okay. And he doesn't tell them, but he slowly tells them so that he'll be able to understand, answers all questions in short immediately. He keeps encouraging Arjuna, and Arjuna's choices. And then finally he'll tell, do as you like. There's no force. So this is how we see. And he's the best teacher because he's the first spiritual master. In fact, when Brahmaji was created, when he came, then when he was born, then the first thing that when he learned about Vedas is from the Lord Narayana. From Krishna gave him he was the first spiritual master. Down the line, he got all the Vedas. And whenever here, Lord Krishna speaks, in Bhagavad Gita, it says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. So why not Krishna Uvacha? We saw Sanjay Uvacha, Dhritarashtra Uvacha, then we saw Arjuna Uvacha, Rodhana Uvacha, like that. But when it comes to Lord Krishna, it is written as Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. This is first thing which we need to understand. Why is it so? Because we have to understand. Now we are introducing Lord Krishna in this from this chapter onwards. See, when we were driving a long way and we are going, and far off we see some mountains. No, it's not so clear. Only when you go nearer to that, you see there are a lot of trees on the mountains. And then again, as you go closer and closer, you finally see there's a parrot on the thing. So in the same way, the first time when you start understanding who the Lord is, we will be attracted to know him as a Brahma. That is his Jyoti, his Brahma Jyoti. That is his energy which is pervading all over. We see his energy in every little atom, how the whole world is working and everything. First we learn him as a Brahma Jyoti, Brahman. That's the first realization when we are trying to understand the Lord. And then slowly, then as we advance, we slowly come to know that he is a Paramatma living in every living entity. Okay, he's in everybody's heart. And now even it's an animal or ant or thing, and you're a human person, he is there in everything as a Paramatma. And then finally, when you learn about him, he is the Bhagavan. Okay, he is the Supreme Lord of things who is beyond everything. Okay, as a Supreme Lord. And it's like, Prabhupada gives an analogy in the purport. He says it's like when you look at the sunshine, you see the sunshine is not in one place, it's pervading everywhere. The whole world gets its light and energy and all that heat, and everything is sustaining. Then slowly when you start understanding more about the sun and where it comes and all that, then you look up and there's a sun disk there, and that's how then you start understanding more about it. And then when you go beyond that, when you make a detailed study, then you realize it's a planet and the sun god is there. And likewise, when these are 3 stages of realizing the God, the Brahman stage, Paramatma stage, and then comes to the Bhagavan stage. And Bhagavan stage is one when we come to understand he is full of knowledge and is full of power, wealth, beauty, fame, and austerity. And none can think he is the Supreme Lord. So let us, even if you all don't, let us accept that he is the Supreme Lord, and we'll go ahead and see what he is telling Arjuna. So we understand the 3 aspects of absolute truth as Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagavan realization. So now he is addressing to the question 1. Question 1 was compassion, isn't it? Compassion. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tata
Dehantara praptir.
Yes, please go ahead. Who is it? May I know his name? Hare Krishna. Who was the reciting? May I know the name at least?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Sorry, I was not on unmute, so I was reading simultaneously.
Yeah, please go ahead. I mean, you can join me with that. It will be nice, so that I know that you all are there. It makes me think. So, as the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. So what is the Lord saying is, this body, every minute, every second, it is changing. Our cells are all the time changing. So we had the body I would say 40 years life, we have, when we're born, we had a body as a small baby. And then it grew to a boy, and then it started growing to a man. So the body is changing all the time. But the person inside, the soul inside doesn't change. It remains the same. It is saying it has come into this body, and it is seeing the body taking the changes from boyhood to youth and old age and things. But even when you remember, no, when you were young, when you were in the school, you know what was happening there. When you meet your friends in your school times, your schoolmates, you really go back to that time and think on how you all enjoyed and how you all made pranks with each other, how you made jokes and all that. Same way that the one who remembers is that soul. The soul knows what is happening, but only the body is changing as year passes. And then when it is no longer useful and it is decays and goes into death, then again it takes another body. So this is what is transmigration, it says. So we are not the body, we are the soul. So this is the first thing he's telling. A self-realized soul, person is not bewildered. So like when a person is dead, generally everyone says, oh, the person has passed away. Who has passed away? That body is there. All the parts are there, everything. But who passed away? It was the soul. Okay, the soul passes away. So the first thing Krishna is telling him, why are you worried? Whom are you thinking about? You're not killing anyone. The soul you cannot kill, because this only thing is they'll be changing their body. They will be there before, and they were there before, and they will be tomorrow also. That soul is eternal. It's not going to go away. It will be there. So there is nothing to think that I am killing them. You're not doing, because you cannot do it also. You cannot kill anybody, nor can you be killed, because the soul is eternal and it's only changing its body, from transmigrating from one body to the another. So this is why. And can it be cut? Can the soul be destroyed? It cannot. So here continues to say, the soul, nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam kledyanti apo, na shoshati marta. So he says, the soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor can it be burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by wind. So Maruta is telling Arjuna, you can never cut to pieces by any weapon, whatever weapon you have, material weapon with your hands, nor you can burn it fire or try to moisten with water, nor by the wind. Nothing can be done to it. And there are people, think here, philosophers, no, they have their own philosophy, saying we are Mayavadis. Now the soul is just covered by Maya. And then once it gets liberated, it goes and merges into the Brahma Jyoti. That means if we are merged into Brahma Jyoti, then how did we come away from there into this world? That they cannot understand. That they cannot explain also. And you cannot cut. We said you cannot cut. That means if you are merged into something, then it implies that we have been cut from there. So now we are merging. Okay. So, or we are separated from here, them, and then we got merged. So but it's not like any matter, no? When we cut anything into pieces, you can always glue it together. But it's not like that. So those Mayavadis, they are called Mayavadis. They cannot explain that. And there are people who think that once we die, then we just nothing. We go into nothing, Shunyavadi. Then you can do anything, whatever you want, because you're going to die, and it doesn't matter. But it is not that. Here the Lord himself is telling that we are going to transmigrate from one body to another, and it cannot be cut into pieces, nor it can be burnt by fire, nor measured. So this is the first thing. The first thing we learn from Bhagavad Gita. What are we taking back? We have to take, this is the first philosophy which we need to understand very clearly, that we are the soul and not the body. But if we have taken this body, then there will be some duties. So now he comes to tell about the thing, about the duties. For the next question, he says, you are a Kshatriya. then it's your duty to fight on the religious principles, not just to flag away. Once you're born, you have a duty to your body, okay? I mean, you have taken up a body, then it has to be done whatever you have in this world. There will be some duties. So it's your dharma is there. I mean, things. So, but if you don't do it, your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? So as a Kshatriya, if you don't do it, and you have come here to fight, if you don't do it, then your enemies will scorn you and all that. They laugh at you. And for a Kshatriya, such thing is very painful, more painful than death. So he now is talking about in this platform to tell him what his duties are. So, Atva prapyasya swargam jitva va bokshasya mahi. So he says, even if you fight, whether you be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer, enjoy the earthly kingdom. So therefore you get up and fight with determination. Nishchaya, kritya nishchaya. Yuddhaya krita nishchaya. You fight with determination. He says, so what? If you are killed in the battlefield, you surely go to heavenly planets. And if you conquer them, then you will enjoy the earthly kingdom. So you get up and fight. What is their problem? It's a win-win situation. It's not that you're losing anything here. In saying that no enjoyment, nothing. It's a win-win situation. You get up and do that. So get up and fight with determination. So you have to do your duty. So once you're born here, then he's talking about our dharma, our duties here in this plane, material world. Okay. And you fight, and for you, there's no problem because you will either go to Swarga or you will be having a kingdom to rule. Then, for that is the question we addressed for no enjoyment. Now it comes to sinful reactions, because here we see Lord Hanuman was he burned the whole Sri Lanka, no? Because he was doing they had scorned Lord Rama. So for Lord Rama, he did it. In fact, burning somebody's house or property is a sinful react. It's sinful. But he's not going to get that because he's doing it for Rama. And so when you do the activities for the Lord, then it doesn't carry anything. And in this endeavor, that is, you're working for the Lord, then that's what the Krishna is telling. When you're doing this devotional service, in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So why he says there's no loss or diminution means, see, we keep changing our body, right? You go from one body to the other and the thing. When we transmigrate from one birth to another, here in this birth, you would have achieved some, you would have some degree and you have got some material asset and you would have got a job and you have progressed something and you have done so many things you have collected, okay? But when you take another body, again you have to start from the beginning. It's not that you will carry all this, whatever your houses you have got, a cars, a thing, you're not going to carry all that opulences into the next birth. You cannot. All that's a gross matter and it all be left here. And even whatever you have learned, everything goes, and again you have to start from ABCD, again from the kindergarten. So all that goes away. But if you have progressed in the spiritual path, even there is no loss or diminution. It says the Lord is clearly telling, when you have taken your part in this endeavor, in this effort, even if you have done 5% today, when you take another birth, that 5% is there and you will be starting from 5% on. It's just cumulative. I like this verse very much because I have come to this thing, understanding now. So at least now we have come here. So whatever effort we have put in now, it is that something which I will be able to carry. It's not a loss to me or not to me. So this gives us a lot of hope, At least we have come to this platform today to understand, take an effort to understand what Krishna is telling us in this Bhagavad Gita. So in this spiritual path, there's no loss or diminution. Any little thing you have made, you will protect the thing from type of fear. And what fear we have, that we might go back to animal life. That is the most dangerous type of fear one has. So now he is telling us to do the work for the Lord. And whatever little work you do, and here he is talking about the Vedas. The Vedas, all purpose served by small well at once, they serve by a great reservoir of water. All purpose of Vedas can be served to one who knows the. So Vedic knowledge, whatever we have scripted, all it says is to understand the Lord, and that is to go back to him. There might be a lot of things like karma. There are so many sections are there in Vedas, karma kanda, Jnana kanda, upasakanda, thing and all that. And it will take you one lifetime to understand all that. But just going through that, you may not think, but still, the main purpose of trying to understand Vedas is to go back to the Lord. So if you understand that, you're doing all your work for me. And then he's telling Arjuna, be a role model for the others to follow you. And how we have to do our devotional service, now he's telling us. He said, no, he was indecisive. He can't make up his mind. Now he's telling you, do this for the Lord with a firm mind. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of Gurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. So we have to be resolute, firm determination we have to make that we will be doing this for the Lord. But people can, they have less intelligence. There are who are not determined, no? For them it may be bad. In fact, there are a lot of sense gratification. I mean, there's so much of distractions in this part, today's world. So we do get distracted. So he's saying how to be firm. Sthita prajna. Only then we can be thing. So you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. So that is why we have to understand clearly. That is nishkama karma yoga. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing a duty. In fact, he's going to explain this more in the chapters 3 and 5. He's telling that you think you are doing everything. In fact, you are the cause for the results. You might have instigated, you might have started it, but the results what you get, there's so many other players which take part, which you are not doing. So you should not get attached to that. Just do it as your duty and don't look at the results. You just give up the results to the Lord. So this is Nishkama Karma Yoga. Then he continues to talk how such a person is. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of sense desire, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So now he's giving us the perfect, where is the benchmark, how a person should be who is in perfect transcendental consciousness. He is the one who has given up all the desires for the sense desires. That is in the thing. And also mental conclusion. I want this, or is it right? Or many things. Mentally, we do a lot of speculations that goes on in our mind all the time. So varieties of desires, and how he finds, and then he gives up. And how is such a person? He gives an example here is the Prahlad. How he was, by his father himself was the one who was trying to kill him, and he was subjected to so many troubles. In all that, the Lord was there with him. Even he was put into fire also. Nothing could be done to him. And the same way we have our example is our Prabhupada, who was determined in his mission. He was determined, and he took up sannyas. He was a grahastha. He had a business, and then later because he wanted to focus on his master's mission, he took up sannyas, and then he was all the time focused in it. Even at the late age, he didn't mind going. When he got the opportunity to go to US, and he had already had a set of books with him, he did it. He was all the time conscious of his work, of his goal, because he wanted to fulfill his master's mission. So he was determined. He was in that mode. So why sense desire? We said, that the one when a man gives up all varieties of sense desires, So now Krishna talks about this sense desire. What is it? How we can, you might think it's such a small thing. No, I'm just looking at an apple or to whether to eat it or not. How I might just think about, shall I smoke or just one cigarette? But can such harmless contemplation turn into lust and anger and cause one's fall down? Why we are focusing on, why he's telling that who gives up stress. So for that is the verse here 2.62. Dhyayato vinayan pusho saigas tenu pajayati saigat sarijate kama krodha abhijayati. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises. So what he's trying to tell here is that, take an example here. There's a boy will be seeing the girl, okay? We just take that. And even the girl might be seeing. So it started with just seeing, and later slowly they talk to each other, and then they might get a relationship, and they start getting attached to each other. And then first was only just looking at thing and thinking about it, whether shall I talk to that person, whether shall I do, and that. Then later they get attached, and they have also might get married, and slowly that attachment becomes so intense, and that lust develops. And when that develops, then once if the desires are not fulfilled, then anger will come. Then from anger, complete delusion arises. So they become very angry with each other. And this happens. It's not just a relationship between a boy and a girl. It could be within the family also, or it could be the thing where such thing can happen. And when memory is bewildered, you lose the intelligence. And what is this intelligence? Is to know what discrimination power, whether this is right or wrong. I think we lose that. Once you lose that, then you will fall down into the material pool. Again, you will come into material sinful reactions. So all that starts from contemplation. That means you start seeing the object. And today, a lot of such distractions are thrown at us, like advertisements. Why the mobile itself, there's so much of WhatsApp, the messages going up and down, and even the Facebook and things, so much of distractions. And we might start with, no, I'll just send one message or one game I'll play, and you get linked to that game like anything, and you will lose all the time, and you won't even think of your studies. So that kind of attachment to that, you get addicted to it, then lust develops, intense desire. And when that desire is not fulfilled, we get dissatisfied, and dissatisfied will, I think, turn to anger turns. And when that intensifies, you become into delusion, bewilderment of memory, and there's a loss of intelligence, and you fall sick. So this is what the Lord says, by your attachment, raga, kama, krodha, thing. These are the things which is our the blockers for us in this spiritual advancement. Okay, starts from the sense objects and this to get things. So, and we can't be in our determination. This is what we learned today, for the reasons that Krishna says we are not the body, we are the soul, and there's no enjoyment. For that he said, whether you win, you will get the kingdom. If you lose, you'll go to the heavenly planet. If you think, why bother? And here he says, we are not the body and the soul, so you're not killing anybody. Yeah, after all your Bhishma, they will take another body, or he might go to heavenly planet, something, or Dronacharya also do that. So they are only, the body will go, but the soul is there. So you're not killing anyone. So why are you so compassionate? There's nothing, and it's like, actually Prabhupada writes in that purport, the beginning itself, like his compassion is something like he's trying to save the shirt of the drowning man. In fact, the man only, the person to life is more important than the shirt, isn't it? Here he's worried about the body and the relationships. So he's saying here only the soul, I think. And this is something which we need to keep in our mind. No enjoyment. And then he says, devotional activity incurs no sin, there's no reactions. And we need to be a role model so that they can prevent Shankarana's progeny, and to serve the Lord with firm determination. Then he won't be so indecisive. For that, what are the problems? We saw that because of the sense gratification, desires are there all the time with us. We need to get it purified. So what did we learn? Now Arjuna surrenders. So when we come into a time of indecision, we don't know what to do, I think we need to take time out and try to get the answer, and not just live like that and try to postpone it or not get. We need to take our time out, try to, in our perplexities, whatever they are, that is burning in our mind, in our heart. So then we saw how Krishna is a spiritual master, and we saw his characteristics. And first thing he talked to us is, who are we? We are the soul, eternal, and we have been with him before also, and we'll be there afterwards also. And it's only the body. And as with the body, we have our duties. And once we go, we have a devotional work. So for this, to learn this, we need training. Anything which you want, whether it is spiritual, others, we need training in spirituality also, isn't it? So for that, we have books. It's a life guru. And Paramatma who resides in us is a Chaitanya Guru. And the devotees, if you keep association with the devotees, they are like the Siksha Gurus. So they are there for us. Only thing is we have to take the help, and we have to get to take advantage. Okay, this is what we learned here in this chapter. Hare Krishna. So Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we'll look into some questions.